fan of a classic American cars, ordering a variety of cars straight from the United States up until the 1990s. The collection had the models such as 1970 Chevrolet Impala, Plymouth Volare, and Pontiac GTO, equipped with air conditioning, power steering, and an 8-cylinder engine. In addition, on the side of the barn, Abdallah discovered an engine that looks like the legendary Hemi V8 from Chrysler. Over the years of standing there, Bahrain's climate have taken a heavy toll on classic cars. All of them are covered with a thick layer of sand, and some have begun to rust. Despite the condition of the cars, Abdallah is very pleased with what he found in the barn. There are practically no American classic cars left in the Middle East, he said. Therefore, even in this form, the discovered vehicles represent a unique find. Don't forget to subscribe and like it. Thanks for sharing, and bye-bye. A car graveyard with only Chevrolet Corvette in it. Car graveyards can be different. Some of them are full of cheap, mass-produced models. Others are full of trucks and buses, but some have much more valuable pieces. So, what we are seeing? In this case, we are dealing with a car dump with a rather specific spirit, because only Chevrolet Corvette C3 can be found here. Someone was obviously collecting all these cars, but the reason is not really clear. The state of all of them shows that it will be almost impossible to restore them. So what do we see? The cars are quite scattered and have already been overgrown with weeds. You can see at least 5 cars, red, white, brown, and 2 black ones, stored on top of some kind of metal structure. It looks like the most complete one is the one with the red body. It has wheels and the interior is partially preserved, although everything is in terrible state. Other cars, unfortunately, look much worse. Don't forget to subscribe and like it. Thanks for sharing, and bye-bye. Abandoned Pontiac GTO 1966. The United States of America is once again pleasantly amazed by the prices of its cars, and this applies to offers for leasing both new cars from some funny monthly fees and classic ones which are many years old, but they look great. This GTO, even if it looks tired, sells for as little as $1,500, and for me it is a great deal for those who are looking for rebuilt vehicles. This one also a classic muscle car too. Here is a real classic that you can only dream of. It was parked 34 years ago in front of the owner's home in Alabama, as evidenced by numbers that have not been updated since 1985. Therefore, do not be surprised at such an abundance of rust on the body, and besides, there is no engine and transmission. This will definitely not be the easiest project to restore to its former luxury, but if you succeed, then you will become the owner of a true classic American coupe. But there is good news too. No perforation corrosion was found in the photographs, and it is possible that the body has not suffered so much over the many years of parking. From the seller, we managed to find out that the car is almost in original condition. Most of the trim elements are in the garage, but this is not certain. Also, you can't look at the cabin without pain. It feels like one of the windows was open and Mother Nature made a little effort to throw foliage into the cabin and fill it with water to form real compost, without which there is nowhere to go in a classic car. A simple alteration of the seats, replacement of the ceiling and floor is clearly not enough. You will have to at least change the seat frames and much more. As already mentioned, this will be a rather serious project that not everyone can pull, as financially and physically. Unfortunately, the owner no longer remembers which engine was under the hood since 34 years ago. He dismantled the box and engine in order to restore them, but he never finished it. Considering that the engine has disappeared for a long time, you can put absolutely any option under the hood. Likely, the choice in the USA is large enough for such retro cars. Hope someone gets interested in this car or uses the leftover intact parts as a donor on another GTO. Watch the legends of Chevy GT350 and Camaro convertible die. Probably any car enthusiast will agree with me that Ford Mustang and Chevy Camaro go wheel to wheel and are rightfully iconic cars in United States of America. The ancestors of the new class of muscle cars, which changed the automotive reality of the 60s. Look what they have become in the 21st century. I suggest we start with the 1969 Ford Mustang Chevy GT350. It's worth the poor guy in the yard. The best years are behind. Well, what else to expect if there are several millions of them in this body, but we have a more powerful and cool GT350 in front of us. The odometer has only 100,000 kilometers that have been wound up in 4 years of operation. This Shelby had an accident in 1973 when it found itself in the hands of the last owner, who believed that he was about to restore, only to deal with the routine, but he couldn't. After the collision, the car was put in a backyard. The engine was pulled out and placed in a responsible storage in a nearby shed to add a couple of horses during the body walk. After 46 years outdoors, Shelby didn't look any better, which is no surprise overall. Looking at this routine bodywork, there is even doubt that anyone would be willing to spend $15,000 on this junk. I wasn't mistaken, that's how much the owner valued his rarity car, which only its contours resemble a car. You can see from the engine bay where the blow came, and you can assume that the blow was quite powerful, and obviously the engine was also damaged. The interior is in about the same condition as if you spent 46 years on the street, and even with open windows. Apparently, the owner decided that ventilation is very important. There is nothing to restore there, and there is a feeling that even as a donor he will not go. Rot is visible everywhere. You have to change almost the entire body, and it loses all sense. The original engine is sold together with the car, but I doubt that it will somehow correct the situation as a whole. But the Camaro is a holy grail among all other Camaro. It is a real treasure, as it is a rare SSRS 396 set, and even in a body of a convertible. In 1969, about 35 such cars were produced in total. Unfortunately, there are many questions to the car, or rather its owner. The car is sold in Miami, Florida for just $28.5. It was a very cool car in those years. Can you imagine how the first owner felt when he got behind the wheel, lowered the roof and heated the gas pedal on the limit? How many jealous sides turned to the sound of a powerful 8-cylinder engine when the car started to accelerate with every traffic light slipping? The last owner had owned the car since 1977, and since then had great plans to start rebuilding it one day. Well, anyway, it didn't come to that. And you know what the saddest part about all this? He had his own car repair shop and a Chevrolet parts store, but even he couldn't find the time to do that. Although it has been kept in the garage for the last almost 50 years, the car has serious rust problems in all typical places. The worst rust looks in the interior, as in some places you can see the floor of the room, which is not good. The interior as a whole is a complete, but the condition is not icy.
only it is not very clear anything at all works, and for what reason the car has stood on such long parking, and that's how legends die, just standing, rotting and disappearing, unwanted and forgotten by everyone. It is all sad.
Don't forget to subscribe and like it. Thanks for sharing, and bye bye. Abandoned Shelby GT500 1967 model. I saw many cars and trucks that were completely hidden behind the trees. Some even managed to get trees through the body, but never saw such a sad sight as this. Just think, this is a real Shelby GT500 1967 model, which has been in the hands of one family all its life. It has been about 25 years since the Mustang was on the move, and now the feasibility and possibility of recovery is the question. This car was made directly by Shelby Motorsports. As you can see from the photos, the car was planned to be rebuilt, and even some original Ford OEM parts were bought, which are still in the car in the original wax paper. But miracles do not happen. A disassembled engine in a disassembled cabin does not add gloss or horsepower. The standard of style and speed at its time turned into real trash. Even by modern standards, the Shelby GT500 can leave behind a lot of modern cars, and in fact, more than 50 years have passed since the creation of this handsome car. It was one of the most affordable and powerful cars of the time, and consistently broke sales records. Maybe the car will be lucky and it will return to the road in a new look. Don't forget to subscribe and like it. Thanks for sharing, and bye bye. Chevrolet Corvette, which stood in the garage for 25 years, was sold for $13,000. The iconic muscle car is equipped with a rare 4-speed manual transmission. This rare 1969 Chevrolet Corvette stood in the garage for over 25 years before being sold on eBay for $13,000. Under the bonnet is a 5.7-liter power unit connected to a 4-speed manual transmission. Despite years of neglect, the Corvette remains a full-fledged car. It has excellent completeness, and one of the last two owners even restored the factory seats. The rest of the interior looks a lot shabbier, with some parts removed and wires sticking out all over the place. In the announcement of the sale, it was noted that the car is equipped with electric windows and a telescopic steering column. The seller does not have detailed information on Corvette's past, but he stated that there is no evidence that the car was involved in accidents. The last time when the car was registered was in 1990, over 30 years ago. I would like to believe that during such long standing, the car was stored at least in a dry area. This means that the power structure has not corroded so much that it will be impossible to restore its integrity. If the rust is minor, then the option with a rare manual transmission after restoration can bring a good profit to its owner. Don't forget to subscribe and like it. Thanks for sharing, and bye bye. Cabriolet Ford Mustang stood in the barn for over 30 years. After sitting in a barn in Indiana for over 30 years, this 1973 Ford Mustang Cabriolet is in need of a complete refurbishment. Thanks to its good completeness, the car can be a great project for rebuilding. The previous owner claimed to have driven it into the barn on his own. And interestingly, in addition to this one, there was another cabriolet in the barn, an early Mustang maybe, which was completely covered with a mixture of hay and mud. What makes this unit special? This 1973 Ford Mustang Cabriolet was delivered to the previous owner's shed about 30 years or more ago and has never been started since. There is dirt, dust and debris in the car. but the seats, dashboard and interior upholstery look good. But the top of the cabriolet has deteriorated and has a large hole. The body, of course, was not preserved in the most perfect condition, and the rear fenders suffered the most. But parts for the Mustang can be bought in a new condition without any problems, so restoring the body shouldn't be a big deal. In 1973, fewer than 12,000 Ford Mustangs were built with a cabriolet body, and there are much fewer options with a 302 V8 and air conditioning.
Don't forget to subscribe and like it. Thanks for sharing, and bye-bye.
A rare 1968 Shelby GT500 found in a dilapidated Texas barn. It's hard to imagine what it feels like walking up to an old rickety barn and see the predatory nose of a dusty 1968 Shelby GT500 fastback peeking through an old metal gate. Barn fights draw many cars fans because they are a four-wheeled versions of pirate treasures. Although instead of shimmering gold, emeralds and rubies, you usually get a dusty heap of iron. The Shelby GT500 you see in these photos was not restored after it was found in one of the Texas sheds. Instead, it was kept as it was found. There was practically no rust on the body despite the unfavorable storage conditions, so it was decided to keep the car as close to the original as possible. Only the engine, transmission, suspension and braking system were restored. It is better to restore or keep in original condition. There is no correct answer to this question. It all depends on the condition and rarity of the car. If a car is badly rusted, it really doesn't have much choice. This car was discovered by Amos Minter in the mid-2000s in one of the fragile barns in Texas. After checking the chassis number, it became clear that this was the only raving black Shelby GT500 shipped to Texas in 1968. The barn owner has owned a car since 1971. There is no explanation why he parked the muscle car for so long, but this is often due to the breakdown of some expensive parts. The bodywork from the Ford Mustang was significantly redesigned for the 1967 model, including an extension of the engine compartment to accommodate the mighty 7-liter big block V8 360 horsepower, topped with a Holley 715 CFM carburetor. The muscle car received a new front end, which was supposed to visually distance the Shelby from the standard Mustang. It included a double bonnet air intake and an extended bonnet line. In the rear, there are lights from the Thunderbird model and a new rear bumper.